Welcome to Queernecks, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode. I'm going to leave the door open and... Oh, wait, no, the door's not open. I was about to say, wow, the cats are really leaving me alone. False alarm.
I've got Rue hanging out. It's just sitting here beside me.
She had a bath, huh?
Well, she got a haircut. She went to the groomer.
Yeah, she looks...
Let me see here. She got her whole grooming. She came home with little pink bows in her ears. We took those out immediately.
Aww.
We're not pink bows kind of girls. But she looks a lot better, and I think she feels a lot better. So, her's a good girl.
So we looked high and low for the Foxy Merkins streaming somewhere accessible, more accessible. There's no such thing as free, really, but in the context of a review show, there are movies that are easier to access because of their inclusion in one of the more popular subscription services that folks tend to have. So, you know, if it had been on Netflix, that's not free, but most people have Netflix. But anyway, that is not on any of the streaming services that are inclusive of everything on it, if that makes sense. But it is on Amazon, my caps lock's on, and YouTube. It's on Fandango. It's on Google Play. All of those are $3. Apple TV, it's $4. So, you know, we talked on air about it. I'm cool giving $3 to rent to a movie, especially because this way it goes to the filmmakers. If I'm going to continue the search for, you know, a copy that fell off the back of the truck, and I may just make one, or I could post that, you know, in the Discord, but you know, this goes for everyone else. I mean, it's just as well that these artists get paid for the thing they made. Who's doing that? Quit. I feel whenever I'm up in this tower and I'm trying to do something and they're scratching around behind me, I feel like Emily Rose in, oh fuck, what book is that?
Doesn't sound familiar to me.
A Rose for Emily. Not Emily Rose. But like, just like, or like the mom in Psycho or something, like just this crazy old woman in her tower yelling at nobody. Emily Rose, my God. Can you tell I just got a job as an English teacher? I'll have to censor that. Well, I was looking at these folks to see, you know, just if there was contact information for the director or any of these people. And they've made a couple of other movies that are similar to Foxy Merkins. One of which is a little more, speaking of Emily's, is more mainstream. It's got Molly Shannon in it. It's called Wild Nights with Emily, and it's a lesbian rom-com about Emily Dickinson.
Didn't she die a long time ago?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Is it? I guess I took it to be said in the present tense.
No. No, it's a period piece.
Got ya.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I assume it looks like one. I mean, it looks like they're playing that part straight. Anyway.
You just don't see a lot of gay stuff from that time period depicted in that time period.
Right. It's kind of a narrow sort of genre, I guess. So like there's The Favorite, which is the Yorgos Lanthimos movie, and I couldn't stand it. I actually like several of his other movies, but I couldn't stand that one. And it's the only lesbian one it's the only queer one he's done. And it was Rachel Weisz and Olivia Colman. So it was a great cast, but I don't know. I couldn't get into it. Couldn't get through it. Did you ever watch any of those, the like really bad lesbian B movies from the 90s? Like Claire of the Moon or Bar Girls?
No, they don't sound familiar.
They're so bad. They're really, really shockingly bad. But I watched them all because, and some of them were fun, you know, like the Incredibly True Adventures of Two Girls in Love.
I did see that one.
Not a good movie, but fun, you know?
Yeah.
So those are, and Desert Hearts, I mean, that's iconic. It's classic. It's legendary. I love it. It has a happy ending, which that was the big thing with the lesbian movies from the 90s, is that many of them actually did have happy endings for the protagonists. The bury your gays trope Have we talked about this on here?
I don't
where
think
that
so.
came from?
No, I don't think so.
So most people probably know it, but it's just this trope of a love story or a drama that has two queer characters in them. Often they are in a couple, they're star-crossed lovers, but it could also just be like the gay best friend. And that person either dies or is punished horribly or both. And it serves kind of like a woman in a refrigerator as some sort of personal growth moment for the protagonist, the real protagonist at best. If they are protagonists, then it's just they can't be together. And that trope is tired, it's overused. We see it too much. But it was invented by queer people. And so, it's important for us to remember that, because it's the existence of that trope is from the Hays Code during the like golden age of Hollywood, following the decadence, creation of all that, Legion of Decency. So this was the group that the precursor to the MPAA, and they were literally a cadre of religious men, right? Religious leaders from various faiths, and they all had to approve movies or not. So the studios all had to go through those. And it was actually forbidden to show deviance, right? Sexual deviance, which was code for the most part, queer people, gay people, unless it was a morality tale about the error of their ways. So it was kind of a loophole. And Hollywood, of course, was run by queer people, like all of these creatives, right? The folks who wrote the movies, who directed them, who acted in them, who scored them, they were all queer people or immigrants. Hollywood was, they were outcasts. So they wanted to represent themselves on screen, but couldn't. And so they exploited this loophole of the bury your gays trope. They could show queer people on screen as long as they died. Folks who don't quite know that full history, they're very like snooty about the bury your gays trope, which, as I said, we don't need it anymore, right? It doesn't need to exist. And if you're going to use it, you need to be doing something interesting with it. You need to be doing something contemporary or salient with it, not just hopping into a harmful trope. Maybe harmful is not the word. Maybe traumatized is a better word. Think about the psychic dissonance of a person, a filmmaker, needing to do that in order to represent themselves on screen. That's a really traumatic origin. Anyway, in the 80s and 90s, there was a big celebration of not needing to do that. More so in the 90s, but like there was also like that tension with HIV/AIDS. So a lot of the queer films from the 90s were fucking crazy, irreverent, and they had happy endings for the folks in them. But they weren't very good because everybody was making them. There's also Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Do you know that one?
No.
It's a period one. It's French. In the late 18th century, a brief affair between a young aristocrat and a painter commissioned to paint her. I've actually never seen it, but so many students have written, I've read more papers about this movie. When I teach queer cinema, I don't teach this. When I do international cinema, I want it to be representative of certain things, and this just doesn't really fit any of those things. To get into international queer cinema, I will usually show something like Fire or something from a very non-Western perspective, just to kind of give them access to. They could watch this whenever the fuck they want to. Nobody can watch Fire. It's banned.
Oh wow.
And it's been scoured from the internet. I tried to find a copy of it on Amazon once, and it was like $140, and you had to buy one of those like special DVD players because it's not in the format that
the regions. Yeah.
So I eventually found an illegal copy it's nearly unwatchable. It is ghastly pixelated.
Have you ever had a book that you really loved and you watched the movie and it was terrible?
So many times, yeah. One was so impactful that it made it into a chapter of my dissertation. I wrote about the fact that the movie pissed me off. So I saw your list of movies. Were you thinking of The Color Purple?
No, I think that one's okay. Have you ever read The World According to Garp by John Irvin?
Nope.
It's a great book. It's one of my top 5 favorite books of all time. There's queer characters. There's a trans character. There's a lot of biting sarcasm. There are lesbians with no tongues and all kinds of interesting things happening in that book. And they made the movie and they cast Robin Williams as Garp.
I knew that. I didn't even know it was a book.
Yeah, he is a terrible Garp. I love Robin Williams with my whole heart. Like my whole heart. He was not Garp. And it ruined the whole movie. Like Garp should have been like a Channing Tatum kind of person.
Yeah, I am reading the blurb on the back of the book here, and I had no idea it was about all this stuff.
Yeah, the movie is terrible.
Because in my mind, it got filed under Robin Williams fuck shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he should never have been Garp. I was very disappointed because I read the book and then they were like, "Oh, there's a movie," and I was like, "No way!" You know, and I was like loving the book, and then I watched the movie and I was very disappointed. That was in the late '90s, I think. But John Lithgow plays the trans.
80s.
Oh, was it? I read it in the '90s.
Pretty sure.
So
Yeah. Well, according to Garp, 82. Yeah.
gotcha. Well, I didn't get it until like '95.
So John Lithgow played the trans woman. That makes sense. Well, he's a transphobe. Like he's very much like agrees with J.K. Rowling. He's playing Dumbledore now. And he said something about he had played a trans woman before when he was attempting to excuse his views, you know, which that's crazy, right? I mean, you know that old joke of like, I'm not a doctor, but I played one on TV.
Right.
I'm not a trans woman, but I played one on TV. The only time that has ever been funny was when Noel Fielding said it on the Great British Bake Off. I don't know how I don't remember how it came up. I remember because did you watch The Mighty Boosh, that show that he was on before he became presenter on the Great British Baking Show? It's crazy. It's absurdist. But there's a character on it called Old Greg who drinks Bailey's from a shoe and he has a mangina. That's his thing. He's green. He's made out of seaweed. He lives in a cave and he's just a character in this sketch show played by Noel Fielding. And it was everywhere in the mid 2000s. So he did that kind of humor. And then I don't even remember when it was. It wasn't 10 years ago that he became one of the co-hosts of Great British Baking Show. And everybody was like, what? This guy? And I remember watching this happen on an episode of Bake Off where somehow it veered over into trans identities, which how did we get there? And he goes, I played a transsexual once on TV. And I was like, this actually is extremely funny. If anybody else had said something like that, I'm not sure how I would have felt. But for some reason, him saying that and me knowing that I had enjoyed that character, that was great.
That's awesome.
Now I want to read The World According to Garp.
I recommend it. It's like I said, it's a quirky book. If you like quirky things, I think you'll like it. Now remember that recommendation is from like 17-year-old me, but it was about worldly things. I shouldn't have been reading that in high school, but I was.
Yeah.
I did this summer program at Miami called Junior Scholars, where you went to the dorms and lived there for 6 weeks and took a couple of classes. It was a recruitment tool, you know, but you had to get in. It was prestigious. And one day, the way to make friends back then was to sit on the porch and smoke. And so one day there was this girl, her name might have been Becky. It might have been, but she was reading The World According to Garp and she told me that it was good. And so I had never heard of such things and I wanted to be cool. So I read that my senior year.
Did you say the program was called First Scholars?
Junior Scholars.
Junior Scholars. Okay. It was called First Scholars at SIU Carbondale. I love those summer programs.
Yeah. I was the administrative assistant for 2 years when I went back to school, and that was fun. The director was a dick, but I liked doing the work. So
yeah.
I always use that job as an example of the wage gap because during that job, I was doing the mail runs and I was going to the airport to pick people up and I was arranging travel from Luxembourg and doing meal plans and going to get pizza and, you know, doing all of the things and also sitting bell desk. You know what that means, right? Sitting bell desk. Like when you come in at midnight and there's somebody sitting at the desk there and they sign you in. That's sitting bell desk, the person sitting there. It's a safety thing. That way, if somebody doesn't come home, then they can worry about it. And so because they were children, we had to have somebody sitting bell desk most of the time. And so I found out he was paying this guy to only do bell desk $2 more an hour for me, more than me. And I asked him why. And he said it was because he had a kid. I was doing all that extra work and got $2 less than that guy because he said he had a kid. That was some bullshit.
Yeah, also, I doubt that's the reason why.
Well,
I mean, That may have played, I'm sure, did play a part in it, right? He probably wasn't just like completely lying, but if it had been a woman who had a kid, it wouldn't have
Yeah.
been
Oh, I agree. I agree.
fucking.
He was a prick, though. One time I wore it as a T-shirt with the number 87 on the pocket, or where the pocket would be, right on the breast. And he was like, "What's that? Your IQ?" And I was like, "Yeah, listen here, motherfucker. I'm doing like credit card reconciliation after like no training. Like I'm running this fucking program while you wave your little hand and say hi to people. Like it made me very angry. That's why I only did it for 2 years. It wasn't worth the hassle. That program doesn't exist anymore in that form. It went on for like 50 years, but now they do, I guess, 2 week sessions, and it's not like a prestigious thing anymore. It's just a solid recruitment tool. I don't know.
Yep.
That's what sold me to go to Miami. That's the whole reason I went there was because of that program.
So I guess we are gonna do Foxy Merkins. Do you want to do that for next week?
Sure.
And so, but something else we've been doing is, or that we have been working on, is making lists of trying to find like trends in our movie watching and maybe be a little less fucking random about choosing what we watch. So you made a list of a bunch of movies and I made a list. What we did was just for this one, we went with the ones that we have seen the most often for whatever that reason may be. I have since been organizing some categories of those. So I've made a category, the movies that you listed that I haven't seen. And then I looked for overlap. So we both listed a Disney movie. So I put that together. You had put Sabrina, the 1954 version of Sabrina. I haven't seen that. That's one of the ones I haven't seen.
It's really good.
Have you seen Harvey?
No.
That's like maybe one of my favorite movies ever, like top movies. And it's, when is it from? I think it's also 1950. And it's also got Jimmy Stewart in it. I think he was in everything during that decade. So I put those together. And then I made a category of scary but important horror movies for you to watch.
As long as I can watch him in the daytime with Shanna home, I should be okay. I should be all right.
Well, and I didn't choose them randomly, right? I chose them. So I picked Alien because you're going to have a lot of responses and resonances with the feminist like representation of it. And there's a lot to talk about there in terms of how that movie got made. So that would be a fun one. Night of the Living Dead, similarly, but with, a black male on screen. And then I put Shaun of the Dead on there, which is just,
I've seen
I
that
don't know.
one.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah. Many times.
Did you? Okay. So there's the rest of the trilogy. It's called the Cornetto trilogy. Have you seen those?
No, I don't think so.
There's the other ones are called Hot Fuzz and The World's End, I think. And Hot Fuzz is, I think, technically it's the best one of the trilogy, but I'm not very tuned in. It's about buddy cops, and so I don't watch that genre as much. So I watch Shaun of the Dead more because I'm really familiar with the zombie genre. But Shaun of the Dead is funnier. It's just more ridiculous.
I didn't even think about putting like Monty Python or my favorite Mel Brooks movie is Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I love Robin Hood Men in Tights. I was thinking about that movie yesterday while I was combing my beard.
Because we're men. We're men in tights. Tights.
You know that scene where he's like stroking his goatee and then it falls off his hand?
Or the one he's like, my fellow whatever, lend me your ears. And then they all pelt him with their ears from the audience. Or the blind Braille, the blind guy doing Braille Playboy.
Or when he's on lookout, Blinken, what are you doing up there? Guessing? I guess nobody's coming. I can recite that movie.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you. Do you have a favorite Monty Python?
Yeah, it's Life of Brian.
Yeah, that's a good one. At my funeral, I want that song played. Always look on the bright side of life.
I really liked Life of Brian. I liked that it was narrative. They don't actually have very many narrative things, and I like the sketch comedy format, of course, but I like the ambition of a full narrative.
Yeah, I like the Holy Grail.
Yeah, Holy Grail is fun too, but I remember being so angry at the way it ends when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The way it, not that they break the fourth wall, that's hysterical. I really loved that. I just didn't like that we didn't get to see the end of the movie. I wanted to know how it ended. And I'm someone who I actually like the transgender joke in Life of Brian that Eric Idle's character he goes like, I would like to be called Jessica now and call me she and her. Like when they wrote it, I think it was just, I don't know. It's hard to explain. If we ever talk about that one, I'll talk more about it, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. Yeah, once I started writing movies down, I was like, this could go on. So maybe
Right.
we'll work on this list, and if you want to take a look at like the full one I have and pick out ones you haven't seen.
That was most of them, to be honest with you.
Okay.
The ones I have seen, I don't know if I've ever sat down and watched The Little Mermaid from beginning to end, but I have seen enough clips of it that I've seen the entire movie. I've not seen Alien. I have not seen Night of the Living Dead. I've seen all of the Harry Potters. I have not seen The Long Kiss Goodnight. I don't know anything about that one. I have seen Adam's Family Values. I have not seen The Last Action Hero. Shaun of the Dead I have seen, and I have not seen Strictly Ballroom. And I have seen the Indiana Jones, at least two of them. I don't know if I've seen the whole trilogy.
So you said Long Kiss Goodnight, Last Action Hero,
Yeah, Strictly Ballroom,
and
Night of the Living
Strictly.
Dead.
Okay. Well, I mean, that kind of rounds it out, because I there were three from your list that I hadn't seen, and then I made the other categories just by
Which three have you not seen?
Major League, The Color Purple, and Sabrina.
Got ya.
So we can work on how to choose them. I mean, I don't know if it would be as fun to just throw them on a wheel and spin it, but maybe that's the best way. I don't know.
Sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, we can figure that out later, and then just whenever we feel like it, go, hey, let's spin the wheel and find a movie. But for next time, we're gonna review the Foxy Merkins.
The Foxy Americans.
I'm very excited.
I'm going in completely blind.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, like I said, when we started this movie, there was a time back in the early days of streaming, like the Wild West of online streaming platforms like Hulu and Netflix, where they had just weird shit on there. It wasn't major titles. They weren't making their own things. It was just, they put this big, like, butterfly net out into the weirdest parts of indie films and then stuck stuff on there. This is how I saw a lot of cool, like, exploitation stuff on Netflix and a lot of international B movies on Hulu. I don't know why, but that was like their thing. And if you think about it, like most of the international films you've seen have been statement pieces. They've been big budget things. And so what does an international B film really look like? I'm sad that that's gone now.
Yeah.
But that's how I first saw Foxy Merkins. And so like we clicked on it. We were like, okay, you say more. And then very quickly into it, I was like, my life's different now. I'm changed.
That's how I felt about Curse of the Queer Wolf.
Yeah, it's very much of that type, but a little more understated.
Yeah. I'm in.
And I can't actually believe that I have never gone back and rewatched it. So the only time I've seen it was back when it came out. That was 2013.
Oh, wow.
Has it been 1 week since school ended?
2, I think. Yeah. School was over. Let's look here. Grades were due on the 6th of May. So that was 2 weeks in a day.
Yeah.
So
how is your summer going?
I've been working on my dissertation some. I've been teaching my online class. And I've been taking days off a couple of times because my brain just needed a reset. And I think it'll be... Yeah. So I did that on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. I just didn't even open my laptop. I just was like, fuck that. And just didn't, which is why the newsletter was late this week. I apologize for everyone for that. That happens sometimes, I guess, though.
Check out my shirt.
What's it? It's pixelated. I can't see it.
No, it says WHS Art Club. And it's orange letters on a, what is this? Camouflage background.
What does that stand for? WHS.
Williamsburg High School. This is actually from my
Ooh.
high school days. This t-shirt is 30
Oh,
something
wow.
years old.
I have a couple of
Or I
those.
guess 30. Yeah.
Yeah, this year is my 30 year out of high school. My 30th year. I graduated in 96.
Are you going to go to like a reunion or anything?
Hell no. Hell no.
Come on. Put-
The people that I want to see, I have friends with on Facebook or some other media. Otherwise, those people, God love them. They can kiss my big white ass. I don't care. I ain't doing it. I ain't going. They tried to organize because I was a class officer. I was vice president of my junior and senior class, so I'm supposed to be involved in the planning of that. And we tried one time to put something together, and the girl who put it together wanted everybody to spend $150 to come to this event, and everybody was like, "I don't have that kind of money," and she got pissed. She like makes lots of money. She was always a rich kind of girl, cheerleader. Her mom was the health coach and the cheerleading coach and all that. But yeah, she tried to make it $150 to come to a dinner, and everybody was like, I was in grad school. I couldn't even afford that, if I wanted to.
yeah.
And we've never tried again. So I figure that's how it'll go. My school does alumni banquets where anybody from any year can come, and they have tables
Yeah.
for all the different decades and stuff. So I might check out one of
Yeah.
those someday if I'm ever old and really bored. But I don't know. I don't think I would ever. Would you go back to a high school reunion? I can't imagine you would.
No, I never have. And Williamsburg, they do the same thing. They have an alumni gala every year, and any alum can attend. And I'm sure it's structured in some way by when you graduated. But it was such a small school, and the survival rate for our graduates is so low, and then the interest level among the people who survived, we all left. We pieced the fuck out, right? Like the people I
A lot of us
graduated
did
with
too.
and was friends with, they live in Colorado or Nevada, or they're fucking hippies that live van life or whatever. David would go to them. I think the first like maybe 5 years out of high school, he went to the galas. He got something out of it though. Like he was popular in high school and had friends and stuff, and he was one of those people like he was expected to go to those. Nobody's looking around wondering where I am, and if I came in, they would not know I was there. So I'd just be explaining who I was all night to people. And then the fact that I look so much like him. So we looked alike before I transitioned. We looked very similar. After transitioning, I began to look just very similar to him, just like 5 inches shorter.
Yeah. My brother and I looked a lot alike too.
Right. Imagine taking testosterone like you would turn into him. And so like I don't like that dealing, So there are times when I don't like seeing myself in the mirror because I look like him. So I don't want to, and I get looked at sometimes on the rare occasion when I'm down there and somebody who would remember him sees me. It doesn't happen a ton because I'm so old now and he's been dead so long, but I just live in fear of that. Cause it's not only, it would be a conversation about like my gender, right? And the fact that I transition, and it would just, I don't think many of them even know that. And then it also would be a conversation about him, and I don't like talking to those people about him. Like hero worship is just too much.
Yeah. I hear you.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
It's Memorial Day, isn't it? God damn it.
Is it? No, that's the end of the month.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, I was like, no, what?
I always become kind of crazy towards the end of May, and every year, even though it's been fucking 20 years now, not 20, it's been 18. I'm still surprised that I react this way mentally and emotionally to Memorial Day. And I don't know what you would think. Maybe if I didn't have ADHD, I'd be able to prepare for the fact that I'm going to be a mess in the second half of May. But
I checked
on Memorial Day, yeah, they're gonna do that, right? The Jellicoe's gonna put up the banners. They literally put banners of him up. Did I show you that picture last year?
No.
I'll find it and send it to you. But they have this creepy banner of his, the little flyers that you make with the faces on them for a funeral with the, what are those called? Pamphlet?
They're the obituary pamphlets, what I always called them.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever that is. It's that photo of him, the street lamps, the banners that they put on street lamps for like Christmas and stuff. That's where they hang the decorations. They have one of those, and they put it on every street lamp on Main Street in Jellicoe.
Was he the only one?
From Jellicoe, yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people died in that war, but they were pretty spread out, like where they were from, you know? So as far as I know, a lot of people from that region went to serve, but he's the only one that was killed in action.
Got ya.
And it was also like that very like post 9/11, everybody was super like patriotic, and it just stuck with everybody. Also, I think it was just the fact that it was him. He was so beloved.
Yeah.
It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing the way they hero worship him multiple times a year. It's on Memorial Day, it's on his birthday, it's on Veterans Day. When I went back to work at EKU, there's a veterans services office there and at most universities, but EKU is considered a military friend of the military. There's some designation that for universities that are supportive of veterans, and this is all a very good thing. But for whatever day it was, I swear to God, it might have been 9/11 or something that didn't make any sense, or it could have just been Veterans Day or Memorial Day. There was the administrative assistant from the veterans office who heard that I was working there. My mom worked at EKU's Corbin campus. I didn't expect all this to happen when I came back to work at EKU. All these people were talking to me about David. And they were like, "Oh, I was at your brother's funeral." It was like a celebrity sighting, you know?
You're like, hey, me too.
Right, yeah. And most people, it was okay. But this woman, she makes this master list of every person who has been killed in action since 9/11, sets up a stage in the Veterans Corner there in the plaza, and has people sign up for blocks to get up and read the names. They just stand there on a microphone on a stage and read the name of every person who has been killed in action since 9/11 in some marathon to mark that day, whichever it was. And I don't even want to know what my face was doing as she's describing this to me, because it just now I was like, it's getting more fucked up the longer I talk.
Right.
And so then she was like, "Oh, well, I can arrange it where you're the one who reads his name." And I hadn't even put it together yet that his name was going to be involved in this. I was just reacting to how ghoulish this thing was in general. And so when she said that, I was like, "Whoa, I want you to take his name out." And she was like, "Excuse me, I'm not going to do that. This is my program. I do this every year." And I was like, "All right, I'm going to start a big fight." And this was kind of like the first time. This happened to me several times, but I got really, I guess triggered is the word for it. I don't use that word lightly while working there, because I was also, when I was in grad school there, I started like 18 months after he was killed. And so there was already that association. It was just too much emotional baggage to me working there because I had transitioned since I left. But I started a big ass fight with her boss. I like emailed her, the director of the thing. And I was like, you know, I'm Gold Star family. I'm a survivor, and I have requested that she take his name out of this. She's making a lot of assumptions about how we should feel about this, because something she said to me was like, "Well, such and such is reading, and they had multiple die." And I was like, "I'm going to quote that when I email your supervisor." And her supervisor, the director of the center, was a famous cunt, but she took this seriously. And I was like, I have only worked here like 6 weeks, and I've already got to do this. So it must have been, because that would have been, I started in July. So yeah, it must have been September 11th then that she was doing it for. And so I got a reply, and she was like, "Okay, I will take this out if you absolutely demand that I do it. But you're disrespecting his memory," or whatever, which was a stupid thing to put in writing. So, but I didn't say anything about it because I was like, your supervisor is going to get this. And so, yeah, a month later, she no longer worked there. And I'm not super proud of that, right? I didn't want her to lose her job, but why would she fight me on that?
Right.
Like, it's a simple request. I'm uncomfortable with this.
Something similar happened in Scioto County. There used to be a big department store called Marting's right downtown, and they went out decades ago now. But in the front windows there that faced the Chillicothe Street, they had like a memorial put up that had just 100 or more pictures of people from the area that have died from the opioid crisis. And I knew the person who was organizing it, so I gave them an 8x10 of my brother to put in there. And my niece didn't know that I did that. and she saw it and got very upset and wanted it taken down, but she didn't know who to contact. And we talked about it years later, and I was like, well, I was responsible for it. Be mad at me, because I thought it was important to show solidarity. We are not alone. This affects every family. He was young, he was handsome, he could have had a bright future, and it took him too. And I thought it was important to put his face to it. But like I said, my niece didn't want it, so I don't know who gets to decide that, his sister or his daughter.
Well, she might have felt or responded differently had she known it was you.
Yeah.
Like maybe it felt like somebody else. It wasn't their decision to make, but
She was in high school when this happened, so she was pretty young.
yeah. And I don't know. I don't like outsiders making, like, there's just everything to hate about that. Whatever they always lie that it's like, I'm honoring them or whatever, okay, then why is this about you then? Tell me why you can't take any criticism. I can't make a simple request. This is not about these people who have died. This is about you. You got to be the one who does this program. Anyway, not to be a bummer.
It's not a bummer to talk about that kind of stuff. It was part of our story.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I had a stalker one time though. At a university I worked at, there was this woman who just had a really intense crush on me. She was a coworker, to the point that like I had to report it and stuff. Like it was creepy. But she found out, she had Googled me, I guess, and she had found out what my birth name was, looked it up, and found out about him because I mentioned in articles about him. There was a lot of articles and news stories and things. She found out the day he died and painted or drew a picture of him, of this creepy ass picture that's everywhere. And I was like,
wow,
this is one of the most disturbing things that's ever happened to me at work. And I went and talked to my boss about it because I didn't know. I didn't know what my rights were, right? I'm fucking first generation white trash. I don't know what to do when somebody is stalking you. I was like, I know, even my hilljack ass knows that this is weird. And so my supervisor, I was talking to him about it, and he was like, okay, I need to tell you some things about your rights and stuff. And he said, I have some obligations too. He knew that, I didn't have a lot of history in white collar spaces. He's a great dude. I was really lucky that I got to learn the industry from him. But he goes, you're talking like you don't fully understand that this is absolutely fucked up. And I was like, it is, isn't it? And he said, yeah, like you're underreacting essentially.
So what happened?
He reported her, and she wasn't allowed to contact me. She had been texting me. It's pretty easy to get a coworker's phone number. Apparently, I've never done it personally without, just the old fashioned way, asking.
Right.
She was messaging me on Teams, knowing I had it on my phone. And so we had this order of separation. She was only allowed to contact me via email about work things. And we had to like check in or whatever, which I didn't really want to do. I was actually afraid about reporting because I thought like she's going to be mad at me. She's got power over me or whatever. It was very illuminating about why people don't report. You can't reassure somebody on the things that they worry about in that situation, or it's hard to anyway. Like the only reason I knew about it was because she sent me a picture of it. She texted me a picture of it. She's like, I have a surprise for you. And I was like, that sure is a surprise. Okay.
The only weird thing I could think of that somebody did was an actual girlfriend that I had. Was my first real girlfriend. We lived together.
Was it the Becky?
Oh, no, that was later on. Her name was Tracy.
Okay.
Yeah, her name, my first girlfriend, her name was Tracy. So I left and went to my mom's for a couple of weeks and let her get all of her shit out, right? And then I came back. And when I came home, she had stolen every pair of socks I had. That is the weirdest thing, and I still think about it 25 years later.
What did she do with them?
I don't know. She denies it to this day. And I'm like, well, I came home and had no socks, so somebody took them. Like there was a great thief in the neighborhood.
You're not like gonna mistake that. Like misplacing a pair of socks is one thing, but all of them?
Right. It was wild. I still think about it years later. She also, I came in one day while she was still living there, and she didn't like that I smoked cigarettes, and she wouldn't let me smoke in the house. I had to smoke on the porch. So I sat right by that window and smoked a cigarette right there in the living room just to be an asshole. And I put it out in the ashtray and I left, and I came back, and there was one of her boxes was still there, and I looked through it, and she had taken that cigarette butt and put it in a baggie and wrote a little note that said last cigarette smoked. And it was like, that's weird.
Oh, wow.
That's weird. Like, she was so obsessive though. Like, I told her one time I thought I looked cute in my blue underwear, so therefore I was never allowed to wear my blue underwear again without being asked who I was trying to be cute for. She was one of those people. Like, she taught me a lot about who I didn't want to be with and who I wouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I value that time, but I was very stupid. She was very controlling.
I watched, I binged actually the second season of Worst Ex Ever on Netflix.
I saw that. Is it good?
It's good television. It's disturbing. Like, and there's a queer relationship. One episode, it's a lesbian relationship, and it was, they don't always handle those well, and it was it was interesting, and it was nice to see too. Like, that was some of these episodes, like, you leave feeling even more distrustful of police. And so, like, their episode, they at least had a detective who was trying to solve or trying to help and deal with the situation. But it was still like, this is not just like, oh, my ex was kind of controlling. These people were fucking monsters.
Yeah.
So if you have that kind of trauma in your past, I don't recommend it. But it was also kind of, I don't know, it's a lot. That television is about voyeurism, watching shitty reality TV about other people's problems. There's that line of exploitation and voyeurism and stuff or whatever. But, like, we all know why we watch it. I also watched The Crash, about the teenager that ran her car into a building to kill her boyfriend who was in the passenger seat.
Well, Lord.
And she tried, and they've got her on video, right? And so it's disturbing. She was going 100 miles an hour. And first of all, I learned a lot about the forensics that go into proving, like, who's at fault in an accident, because they're like, yeah, there's a computer in your car that is telling on you, because she was like she was like, oh, it was an accident or something, like you accidentally drove into a building at 100 miles an hour. And they were like, they pulled up this chart and they're like, well, the computer in your car says that you never touched the brakes and that the gas pedal was actually at 100% for the 5 seconds up before you hit that. And I was like, oh shit, okay, don't ever try anything because you won't get away with it.
Right. Wow.
But she is a piece of shit.
Why do you think it's common knowledge, I think, that domestic violence in lesbian relationships is especially high, and that bisexual women in particular face the most amount of violence? Why do you think that is? This is a topic that comes up every semester when we talk about domestic violence, because people don't even think about the fact that, two lesbians could have domestic violence, or, what would happen if somebody got outed in the middle of their boyfriend beating them, or, all the special circumstances that might be around it. So it's always an interesting conversation, but I was just wondering what you thought.
I believe that is a factor, the fact that we don't think about it. We don't think of women as being capable of not just that kind of violence, but we underestimate women. We don't think of women as being violent murderers or whatever. Like, and by we, I mean, like, a patriarchal culture automatically makes the assumption that women don't have any power. And so two women dating each other is the definition of benign to this patriarchal hive mind. Maybe that has something to do with it. In regard to bi women in particular, I mean, I'm sure biphobia plays a part in it. I don't know a ton about domestic violence, like the statistics and things like that. I know that you do know, so I definitely believe you. I think, though, that it is an escalation. I don't think many, like, I've watched a lot of these shitty documentaries, I've read memoirs, and I study people. My research is on group identity and motivation, self-esteem, and stuff like that. People aren't going into contexts going, I one day will become a physical abuser. But they do. And if you ask them how it got there, they don't know. They can't explain how that escalation got there. And I think that we ignore women in particular.
I think the cycle of violence has something to do with it. You know, the idea that you start out in the honeymoon phase and then there's tension building and then an explosion. And the more times this cycle happens, the smaller the time between the explosion and the tension grow to the point that it's just explosion after explosion. So I think part of it is the volatility of a lot of people who are out are not in safe spaces in their families or their communities. There's a lot of queers that don't have a good job, and I think a lot of that plays into it.
The insular nature of a marginalized community like that, I mean, it could be similar pressures as those that increase substance use or risk-taking behavior. Trauma plays a part in general mental wellness in a community like ours. I mean, we know a lot about what childhood trauma does to a person as they mature, and a lot of queer folks of our generation anyway, that was their experience. That's a good question, though, and it's so difficult to treat something like that without falling into unhelpful generalizations or harmful stereotypes or reductive reasoning that misses the point. And of course, the people who would be capable of that kind of research. Oh, well, we recently defunded all of that kind of research, so we'll never know.
Right? No, we'll swing back to the left eventually.
I mean, yeah, and maybe it's just a pendulum, but I just hope that anti-intellectualism never reaches this point again.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
But higher ed kind of has it coming. I mean, they played their part in making people not want to associate with us. Well, this has been fun. Maybe it's time to hear from this week's sponsor. Oh no.
What?
Forgot what I wrote this about. This episode of Queernecks is brought to you by trauma bonding. Unrelated.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
The emotional gorilla glue of the rural working class. It's like team building, but for people with no options and shit to do. It's that invisible, unbreakable tether that snaps into place the exact second you and another person survive the same highly specific, deeply chaotic ordeal that city folks would need 3 years of expensive talk therapy to unpack. Before anyone taught us what words like boundary or codependency were, we just called it friendship. It's the relationship dynamic that doesn't start with small talk about the weather. It starts because you were both trapped in the back of a broken down 1994 Chevy Blazer during a flash flood, or because you spent 3 hours together in the principal's office waiting to find out if the sheriff was going to be involved. We are talking about that kind of bond that can only be forged in the fires of mutual absurdity. You didn't become close because you liked the same music. You became close because you both worked the late shift at a gas station where the ice machine was possessed by a vengeful spirit. Or because you share the exact same look of mild dissociation whenever someone brings up a specific Sunday school teacher. There is a shorthand here that bypasses the normal human courtship process. You don't have to explain your family tree or why you get a little twitchy when your phone rings at 2 a.m. They already know. They were there when the tree fell through the roof. They know exactly what kind of mood your dad was in based on how he parked the truck on the gravel. And they've kept secrets for you that are legally binding in the court of public opinion. It's the kind of loyalty where you could go 5 years without speaking, but if they call you from the ditch at midnight with a flat tire and a trunk full of something they ought not to have, you don't ask questions. You just grab jumper cables, a shovel, and hit the road. So, trauma bonding, helping rural folks mistake adrenaline for affection since the first time two teenagers tried to outrun a property owner with a flashlight. And now back to Queernecks, where we're still trying to figure out if our mutual respect is based on a shared worldview or just the fact that we've both seen things we aren't allowed to talk about in public.
I'd say it's a little of both.
Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Have you ever been the asshole in a relationship or a breakup?
I mean, I broke up with Tracy and she took it real hard, but it was her fault. Like 100% it was her fault.
No, that's not that's not what I mean. I mean, like, not necessarily abuser, but just the asshole, like the instigator, the problem.
No, because I've only had a few real girlfriends.
I don't know if everybody has that experience, but I sure was. I did it twice. Yeah. And it that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, I didn't hit anybody, but I wasn't nice and I was cruel in specific ways. And I couldn't explain to you how it ever escalated to needing to be so cruel, especially to somebody that I loved or was addicted to. And like, I learned a lot about myself during those two breakups, but it was, it was awful.
Yeah.
Never before or since. It was just something about that moment. And of course, it was a love triangle because they were dating each other. I was dating both of them. One was a former ex who got together with this other former ex. And then I started dating them both again. So it was just a really bad situation.
Right.
And it went on for like 4 years,
Oh,
4 or 5 years.
No, I dated Tracy for about 2 years, and then we broke up, and I dated another girl for about a year, and then Tracy changed according to her, and so we dated for another 8 months or so, and then Shanna and I met, and we got back, or Shanna and I got together, and I haven't ever looked back since then. So Tracy
Yeah.
would tell you that I'm the asshole. She would definitely tell you that, but
Right. I mean, that's subjective. Everybody feels like
yeah.
everyone's trying to win the breakup.
I didn't steal her socks though, you know? Like,
And most people in any given normal breakup could say the other person had done wrong and be correct because nobody's perfect. We all fuck up.
yeah.
But being the monster, that's a truly unique experience that, not everybody has. And like, that's just informed my life in general since then of being like, oh God, the potential that's in here. It actually informed my research. It's one of the reasons why I research group motivation, self-esteem, identity, and monsters.
Yeah. That's so interesting. There must be something going on in my hallway. Both girls are staring at the door.
Maybe somebody's cooking something.
Maybe. Somebody uses a lot of garlic in this hallway. I know that.
Hell yeah. Everything needs garlic.
I did some fine dining earlier today and made my spiral mac and cheese. It was delicious. It was Rue's first time having mac and cheese, and she's a big fan.
What is spiral mac and cheese?
It's Kraft macaroni and cheese, but they're little spiral noodles. They're really good. I like them better than regular noodles. It holds the cheese sauce better.
I like those. I like those with Alfredo sauce.
I don't like Parmesan all that much. So Alfredo sauce isn't my favorite.
I didn't know it was made out of that.
Yeah.
I got some pork and I picked up some beans and chili spices. So I think I'm going to make some chili. I need to start
Nice.
eating real things.
I need to clean out my refrigerator is what I need to do. And then go to the grocery store.
Well, do you have a noun of Appalachian interest?
I do. I did a fun one today. All right, this week's noun of Appalachian interest is the burning couches of West Virginia University, which is one of those traditions that makes people say, is this culture? And the answer is, well, it is now. If you've never been to Morgantown, West Virginia, let me paint the picture. WVU wins a big game, the town is excited, students are yelling, somebody's cousin is climbing a street sign, and then somewhere in the distance, a couch begins its final journey. Now, I want to be fair, not every WVU student has burned a couch. Most students are just trying to pass biology, find parking, and figure out why rent is so high for a house with a porch that leans like it has secrets. But the couch fires have become famous enough that, for a while, people outside of West Virginia acted like every dorm room came with a lighter and an emergency sofa. The couch fire thing mostly became linked to big sports moments, especially football and basketball. A win could do it, a loss could do it, a tense game could do it, and at some point the couch was less furniture and more emotional support kindling. And listen, I am not here to encourage arson. Please do not burn your couch. Sit on it, nap on it, eat shredded cheese over the sink and then return to it, but do not set it on fire in the street. The fire department has enough to do, and your landlord already thinks you are a problem. What makes the burning couch interesting, though, is how it became a symbol. It turned into this weird shorthand for WVU party culture and Morgantown chaos. It was funny, but it was also became a headache for the city, the university, and everybody trying to convince the rest of the country that West Virginia is more than one viral photo of upholstery meeting its maker. Because that's the tricky part. When people from outside Appalachia hear a story like this, they sometimes use it as proof of every lazy stereotype they already had about us. They don't see students being ridiculous in the same way students are ridiculous everywhere. They see West Virginia behavior, which is not the same thing. And let me tell you, as a college professor, I know what college students everywhere are capable of nonsense. Some schools flip cars. Some schools tear down goalposts. Some schools act like they invented beer. WVU just happened to have a couch-based brand identity. There is something very Appalachian about the object itself, too, not the fire. Again, do not burn your couch, but the couch, the old porch couch, the basement couch, the couch that has survived 4 roommates, 3 dogs, 1 breakup, and a mysterious stain nobody wants to discuss. In Appalachia, a couch can be indoor furniture, outdoor furniture, a guest bed, a therapy office, or even a place where your uncle falls asleep after Thanksgiving dinner. So when a couch gets dragged into the street in Morgantown, it's not just a couch. It's a sacrifice to the sports gods. It is a bad decision with cushions. It is a public safety issue wearing plaid upholstery. WVU and Morgantown have worked hard over the years to stop the fires, and good for them. Nobody needs a flaming sectional blocking traffic after a basketball game. But as folklore, the burning couch has already done what folklore does. It stuck. It became a story that people tell, roll their eyes at, laugh about, and try to explain to outsiders without sounding like they personally own a gas can. So today we honor the burning couch as not a recommendation, but as a warning, a symbol, a little piece of Appalachian campus legend that says, we won the game, we lost our minds, and now the fire marshal would like a word. So that has been your noun of Appalachian interest for this week, the burning couches of WVU. Soft enough for company, dangerous enough for Morgantown, and absolutely not covered by your security deposit.
I didn't know that was a WVU thing. I know they do it in Lexington when the Cats win.
It started, I believe it started at WVU and like kind of
sounds
morphed
like
out.
It.
Yeah.
I remember there was a particular thing they won. It's been in recent years, and by recent I mean like old people recent, so maybe 15 years, past 15 years. UK won some championship, and I don't know which of the balls it was, but they were burning couches and rioting in the streets and turning cars over and stuff, and the memes were pretty incredible, especially the couch-based memes. Have you ever been in a riot?
No. I was around when the riot of the prison happened, but I wasn't personally involved in any way. So no.
I've never been in a riot, I don't think, but I have been in some really sketchy crowd situations.
I went to Warped Tour 4 summers. Does that count as sketchy crowds?
Yeah, definitely.
Those were the stinkiest teenagers I had ever encountered in my life that were at Warped Tour. It was an assault on your senses every time I went.
That was, I mean, that's kind of what Knoxville smelled like anytime there was a festival.
I have a friend that goes around and does the merch and some of the promotional stuff for festivals and stuff like that. She seems to like it. It's a lot of on the road time. I can't imagine living my life on the road.
Merch girl. That show, Poker Face, with Natasha Lyonne, has an episode where she's the merch girl for a band touring, and they write a song called Merch Girl, and it's really stupid and bad, but it gets stuck in my head a lot. And it's Chloe Sevigny who's singing it, so.
Got ya. So did you like the 76th Street? I think that I just got more gay.
In fact, it inspired me to go and look up some playlists on Spotify, and I was typing in stuff like 90s lesbian alt rock and things like that, and found some pretty fun playlists to spice up my algorithm.
Nice.
A lot of L7.
Shanna and I share a Spotify, so it's like have DID. Like, she listens to a lot of rap, and I listen to a lot of audiobooks. She's reading Megan, or she's listening to Megan Thee Stallion, and I'm listening to a history of homosexuality or whatever. Bad homos. I'm listening to a really cute book called The Way to the Trip to a Small Angry Planet or something like that. It's science fiction about a ragtag group of people in a cargo van going across space. It's really interesting. I really like it. I generally don't go for stuff like that, but this one has been really cute. So
doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
Let's see.
The long
way to a small angry planet by Becky Chambers.
Oh, there it is. Cool. I used to read so much science fiction, and I just don't anymore. Have you ever read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I have not.
It's pretty fun. The prose is a little grating. Like, it's like, we get it, you're cute, you know. No Terry Pratchett.
You know, I tried to read some Discworld and I couldn't get into it. Like, I don't know if I just picked the wrong book to start with or something, but I couldn't.
Did you come in halfway through or something?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't read it. That one. I mostly read Mostly I read sci-fi short stories, actually. Like there's some
Yeah.
novels that I've read, but I really like short stories. I took some courses on writing sci-fi short stories. It was one of my favorite undergrad classes.
We did when I was an English teacher in Portsmouth at Shawnee State. I basically just followed the syllabus of my friend, and she had picked out these two stories for them to write about, and one of them was called The Swimmer. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I can't remember who wrote it, but basically, there's this guy, and he wants to swim from one end of town to the other, from pool to pool to pool, like from one backyard pool to the next backyard pool. He wants to swim the whole thing. And you find out at the end that he's an alcoholic, and things just start making sense at the end. Like all the details are all wrong, and it turns out that he has dementia or whatever. That was the weirdest story. And then we also did Flannery.
Flannery O'Connor.
Yes, it was about the murder.
Well, most of hers are.
Are they? Are they?
Yeah, she's sort of a Southern Gothic. So is it A Good Man Is Hard to Find?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I used to teach that one. I taught Revelation, and I taught, there's another one. It's like the big three of hers. Good Country People. That's what it was.
I really enjoyed those, but I've seen memes that are like, how do English teachers pick out these random ass essays that you're going to be thinking about 20 years later? And I'm still thinking about those essays. So
Yeah. Yeah, they actually there's a biopic about her with Maya Hawke that came out, I don't know, in the last 5 years, Wildcat from 2023. I don't think they liked it. Well, they didn't love it, but it doesn't have like horrible reviews. But I haven't seen it. But I don't know. I like Flannery O'Connor. The thing I loved about Revelation, I can't remember if it's that. Is it Revelations or plural, or is it plural?
I don't know.
It's Revelation. It's singular. It's really, well, it's about hypocrisy, but it's also about whiteness, hegemonic whiteness. There's this woman who is our narrator. And at the beginning, she's sitting in a doctor's office waiting room, and she's judging all the people who are in there with her and sort of ranking them, categorizing them by their social status and explaining their social status. And so there's a black family, I think. I don't remember who else. And then there's a white trash family. Like, she names them as white trash. And she says, like, they're worse than the black family because they should know better. Like, white people don't have any excuse for being as low as black people or whatever. So a lot of people are really critical of Flannery O'Connor, or like find her difficult to read because of the way she puts shit like that in her characters' mouths.
Right.
On both sides of the spectrum, like some people are uncomfortable having that secret of white supremacy said out loud. Some people don't know that writing something in the story isn't the same as condoning it.
My students seem to like both of those stories that we did in that English class. They didn't find The Swimmer as weird as I did. Maybe you have to have some time, have to have some life experience to get how weird that one was. There's a movie about it from the 60s as well, and I watched part of that when I was doing the research for it, and that was okay. But I would recommend reading it. It was worth a glance.
Well, maybe let's get off of here.
What else you doing this week?
What else am I doing? Tomorrow I have to get a bunch of MRIs. Not a bunch. I have to get some MRIs, but it's going to take a long time because they're doing with and without contrast, and they're of my hands, which is apparently super difficult. And it's like there's a reminder in my phone about it, and I keep reading it as like with and without contrast, and I keep reading it as MRI without consent, which is kind of how it feels.
That contrast dye, I'm allergic to it.
Well, MRI contrast dye is different than the CT, but it doesn't mean that you wouldn't be still allergic to it. Because I was surprised it didn't hurt. There wasn't the horrible burning feeling that the CT contrast dye gives you, like feeling like you're gonna die. In your case, you might, but
I turned blue.
I didn't feel anything. So, and then what am I doing? I'm gonna go to boxing.
Nice.
And I'm gonna hang out with my friends this weekend, work on my truck. I don't know. What about you? What are y'all doing?
I'm going to be writing my dissertation, and That's about it. Shanna's got to work all weekend, and I enjoy the time at home, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I don't really get cabin fever very much because all my snacks are here, my dogs are here, and the internet is here. What else do I need? You know, and pants are optional.
I may take myself to see that Obsession movie, that horror movie. It's apparently a big deal. People are really talking a lot about it in ways that make me feel like I need to see it. So I may do that too.
Very cool.
And I've been like using job hunting as an excuse to not clean the house and do things like that. Just been sitting here on the computer all day. So I should do that at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, we did some cleaning yesterday. I'm going to do some more tomorrow. Our big problem right now is our pizza boxes. We just have a collection of pizza boxes that need to go out to the garbage. So that's it. And the box our TV came in.
Well,
have a good week, homie.
Yeah. And a good weekend. It's going to be actually nice weather next week. It's going to be above 80, so I'm going to be outside. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us again. We hope you have a good week. We hope your summers are starting off well.
Don't forget to watch the Foxy Merkins this week.
Yeah, if you got $3 to spare, load it up on YouTube and come and listen to us talk about it. Of course, if you haven't seen it, it'll probably still be pretty funny to listen to us describe this movie to you. It's gonna sound like we have each, like we're sharing a stroke. Which is kind of like what we sound like in general a lot of times.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, be good if you feel like it, and if not, don't get caught. And say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.